Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on the channel. Another full race live stream for you guys today. We've been waiting 3 days to do this race. For those of you that didn't know, I had to get a couple new controllers. I got, one new one and then a second one for a backup. I was having an issue with the analog stick in practice on, I think it was Tuesday before the start of the race, Monday. Man, it's been that long already. Monday. Before the start of the stream and the start of the race. We were supposed to run this at 6 o'clock on Monday at Richmond here on NASCAR Thunder 04, our final season here. But the analog stick, the one to steer the car, was wanting to turn to the right a lot. For whatever random reason, I couldn't get it unstuck, or if I did, it would just get back into that position within a few laps later anyway. So instead of trying to fix it, because I didn't really trust myself in fixing it, it's an old controller anyway. I think the controller was actually used before I got it off of Amazon back before I started the series in August, and the PS2 was refurbished at least, but the controllers were not. So I bought two new, or at least refurbished, PS2 controllers, so we shouldn't have an issue like that. And if we do with one of them, we still have a backup plan for the short term at least. So thanks for everybody tuning in here tonight. Still waiting on people to enter the stream for right now. But yes, 6 o'clock here on the East Coast at least, or the Eastern Time Zone. Final season of NASCAR Thunder 04. Race 11 of 36 coming into this race. Terry Labonte has won 4 of the last 5 races. The All-Star race will be coming up tomorrow night, so looking for more added momentum going into that race. And for somebody that doesn't have a win this year, or not in the last calendar year, it's their last chance to try and lock up a spot for the All-Star race. Otherwise, they'll have to race in the Open before the race that night. Now, because we're already locked into the All-Star race, we will not be able to see the Open race tomorrow night, but the All-Star race will be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so tune in for that one. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We do this full race live streams of the Real Stick broadcast every day. And I think without further ado, we're going to hop on into this race. We'll take it through the starting lineup, and before that, tonight's key points before the drop of the green flag.
Short track racing under the lights tonight from the Richmond International Raceway. Richmond offers a little something for everyone, doesn't it, Barney?
Richmond is a great racetrack. It's always fun to come here. We should see some close racing, so anything can happen here.
Terry Labonte has really shown some muscle in his qualifying this year.
Yeah, but don't forget,
First time we're running the mini wheats paint scheme this season as well, by the way. Look at all those allies, no rivals anymore. That's good.
Has had an amazing string of qualifying runs this year.
Well, you can't win if you don't finish, and the best way to finish is to start up front and stay there all race long.
Kenny Wallace has not had the finishes he's hoped for in the past couple races.
And trust me, it hasn't been for the lack of effort. Those guys have been working hard all season. Maybe they can right the ship with a good finish here.
I don't remember this rendition of the national anthem on this game for some reason.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
We'll take through today's starting lineup. Short track racing on a Thursday night. Gotta love it, especially with this game. Terry Labonte, Ricky Rudd will be on the front row. Second short track race, both these guys qualified 1-2 in the exact same position. Last time it was at Martinsville. Labonte's the hottest driver in the last handful of races coming into tonight's race as well. Dale Jr. and Rusty Walsh will be in row 2. In row number 3, it'll be the Rocket Man Ryan Newman in 5th, with Matt Kenseth starting 6th for Newman. His qualifying efforts have been getting better over the last couple races. Kenseth, 1 win this year, already 6 races ago at Darlington when it happened. Elliott Sadler and Tony Stewart will be in row 4. In row number 5, it'll be Jimmy Johnson and Bobby Labonte. Bobby Labonte's had a couple of good runs coming off a second-place performance in the last race, and Johnson a win at Texas a couple of races ago. Michael Waltrip and Johnny Benson will be in row 6. Waltrip a one-time winner this season at Rockingham. In row number 7, we've got Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon. Gordon also a one-time winner himself this season at Atlanta earlier in the year. In row number 8, it'll be Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton. Both winless on the season. In row number 9, 2 more winless drivers, Jerry Nadeau and Steve Park, will be starting midfield here tonight. In row number 10, it'll be Kenny Wallace and Brett Bodine. Bodine got a win early in the year at Vegas as well with the randomization of a finishing order after he DNF'd that we, driving as Terry Labonte, was involved in earlier this season. A couple of rookies in row number 11, Casey Mears and Greg Biffle. In row number 12, it'll be Mark Martin and Jeff Green. Martin still looking for his first win of the season. He's been close a couple times, but it's been a few races since he's had a solid performance from start to finish. We'll see if he can do that. Again, he is starting mid-pack tonight as well. Bill Elliott and Ward Burton will be in row 13. In row number 14, it'll be rookie Christian Fittipaldi and another younger driver in the field, Robbie Gordon, starting to his outside. At row number 15, it'll be Hermie Sadler and Sterling Marlin with a poor qualifying effort. We'll see if Marlin can charge from the back to the front. In row number 16, we've got Mike Skinner and Ken Schrader. R6, welcome to the stream.
Row 17 has a tight Pontiac.
Ricky Craven, our Daytona 500 winner, will be starting inside row 17 with Kyle Petty to his outside.
18 will be the net zero Pontiac.
Jack Sprague and David Green, two more rookies, will be back in row number 18 for the start of tonight's race. In row 19, it'll be another rookie, Jamie McMurray on the inside. Outside of him, Kevin LePage. And tonight, starting in row number 20, it'll be rookie Stanton Barrett with young driver Kevin Harvick starting to his outside. Harvick still trying to search for his first win of the year. We've seen a couple drivers come from the very back towards the front in some of these races this year. We'll see if he can do it today. Chase Montgomery and Joe Nemechek will be in row 21. And rounding out the field in row 22, it'll be Jeremy Mayfield. Here at Richmond, he won this race in 2004. Obviously, it's a 2003 season. We'll just have to wait and see what today will bring. Something I've got to state before the start of the race, I kind of mentioned it during the NASCAR Heat 5 live stream last night with the Xfinity Series, but this analog stick with this new game, I think the last one was so broken that it was overcorrecting the car. It's hard for me to keep the car straight down the straightaways, so we're going to hope for the best in a 400-lap short track race here tonight. Turn 1, lap 1, the green flag is in the air. Terry Labonte will clear Ricky Rudd on the outside. At least Labonte's got a good start, really trying to work for the clean air and get himself some more, practice laps in the beginning of the race with the clean air, and hopefully nobody crowding him from behind. Labonte leads lap 1. Dale Jr. from third place is going to get to second. Labonte locking the brakes up going into turn 1 here, really trying to get the car to turn properly. And honestly, in that final practice session, at least in happy hour, only ran about 5 laps, seemed to be getting a little bit better with the handling of the race car, was working on it. Definitely need some braking in, that's for sure, as far as trying to get the steering down. I was almost turning too much in the corners. I don't think it was that I was necessarily braking too much, I just think my last analog stick was so broken that I was probably having to turn more than what I actually needed to. So now with this one, I'm turning too much. And that's why you're probably going to see me get a little squirrely down the straightaways from time to time. Mainly for that reason. I'm going to be overcorrecting it probably a lot. And I didn't run on anything older than 20-lap older tires in practice. So, man, if we end up having a long 100-lap, tire stint tonight, because that will be about the pit window, will probably be right around 100 laps. That is going to be pain here for Terry Labonte tonight. But so far, trying to get off to a good start. Dale Jr. has been right behind him since the very beginning of the race as the top 2 cars are pulling away. Jr., one of his allies that he had worked with well 2 races ago at Talladega. Jr. also coming off a solid top 5 performance at California on Sunday afternoon. Ethan, welcome to the stream. We are running Richmond here tonight. Indeed, under the lights, short track racing on a Thursday night. And we got the All-Star race here on NASCAR Thunder 04 coming up tomorrow. And there was the product of turning it maybe a little too much as Labonte got really loose into 1 and 2. Going to allow Dale Jr. to slowly close that gap. Jr. kind of tried a little higher arc into turn 3 that time. Trying something a little different. Michael Waltrip, his teammate, up to 3rd place. Waltrip qualified back in row 4, but he's already up to 3rd on what is only lap 8. On a short track, that's pretty good. And he's closing in on the top 2 right now as well. Waltrip, a one-time winner already this year. Elijah Ladeau, welcome to the stream. Richmond is probably due for a repave, by the way, right now. As you can see, I believe the last repave was in 2000, if I'm not mistaken. It was the first race on the newly repaved Richmond. So that's why you can see here, at least in this game, which took place in 2003, still pretty dark. It looks like the asphalt is pretty fresh for the most part. GM, welcome to the stream. Labonte goes a little higher than he wanted to. Junior almost slid underneath him in turns 3 and 4 as Labonte hangs on to the lead. Ryan Newman still in 4th, and Kurt Busch rounds out the top 5 back there behind Waltrip in 3rd. Lap traffic going to be a big factor in tonight's race. Going to be really tough to pass for Labonte, especially to pass cleanly with the little bit of unstableness in his race car. Gap Jr. pretty good there in turns 1 and 2. Starts to slide up the racetrack on him. Labonte hasn't even been hitting the brakes. I think that's what's kind of helped him. Kind of like right there, just get out of the gas and let the car turn itself. You're going to see him overturn that car quite a few times here, at least in the first half of tonight's race, until start to get more comfortable with the race car in the longer runs. Again, exiting practice didn't seem like he really had as much comfortability in the race car as what a driver would like to have going into a longer race like this. Not necessarily long in mileage. This is a 3/4 mile short track, but it is long as far as the laps are concerned. 400 set for tonight's race. Now remember, the top 8 in the standings right now, all within 1 race of each other still. Tells you how early in the season we are. After Sunday's race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, well, I should say Lowe's Motor Speedway back in 2003 at least, but now known as Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coke 600 on Sunday, that's when we're really going to start to get the gist. We'll be a third of the way through the year. At that point, we'll be 12 of 36 races complete. I think we're going to have a lot better idea, better grasp on who will be those 10 to 15 drivers competing for the championship in the middle portion of the season. Then we get into the final 9 to 12 races, and then you're really going to have to be within the top 10 to be within pretty good striking distance for the most part, but you're probably going to have to be at least within 2 race worth of points with about 9 races to go to legitimately have a shot in case, trouble arrives at Talladega at the end of the year, or Martinsville, and those closing racetracks that are very difficult, that can really jog the finishing order a few more times. It will be an endurance race for sure, especially in this game. Earlier start time. My Packers play on Saturday, so we can get a little earlier start time on that race. I think we're planning it for noon Eastern Standard Time once again, but I mean that doesn't mean anything because the race still probably won't get over until like 3:30. And it's going to be a long one. We might set the record for the longest race on the channel. Our record's 3 hours and 43 minutes. We came close to setting it with the Season 1 race in the Coke 600. We actually had a pretty decent race pace. We only had like 5 or 6 cautions the whole race, which for that long of a race with this game, that's pretty impressive. The good news is for Labonte, he has won at Talladega and Martinsville, so maybe we get to those tracks at the end of the season. That could be the bright spot in his possible championship campaign if he keeps this going. First lap car of Chase Montgomery will put a lap down here on lap 22 into turns 1 and 2 as Labonte takes it to the inside of him. And that's the bright spot with Labonte having this hot streak right now, is obviously He's running well on the short tracks, which are typically some of the tougher tracks in this game. In specifics, and probably some of the toughest racetracks on the circuit in general. And he survived Talladega to win that race as well. So running well on the tougher racetracks, you get to those mile and a halves like Charlotte. Yes, obviously that one's a little bit different though because it's a longer, even longer race, 600 miles. But even those 400 to 500 mile and a half races, that's where Labonte's going to have to pick up the pace because there's a lot of those tracks at the end of the season. In particular, you got Homestead that rounds out the year. Kansas is in the final half a dozen races. We go back to Charlotte again. Atlanta's at the end of the year. Of course, Labonte DNF'd at Atlanta earlier this season already. Granted, it was on a fuel mileage glitch, fuel glitch with the game, but even still, didn't get the finish that he probably wanted there. We still got to go back to Chicagoland in the middle of the summer months here as far as this season is concerned, so we'll just have to keep an eye on it. But Labonte's been really good on the short tracks. That is the saving grace with him coming into this race tonight, despite myself running with a new controller that is making things a little touchy. He's getting through the lap traffic really cleanly for now, but we've seen once we get into the second half of a race how much more aggressively they race. Not only Labonte, but the rest of the field, really, no matter how many laps down they are, so we'll have to wait on that as well. Yeah, NASCAR Heat 5 is a long time. I don't remember all the times, but I remember the longest race I've ever had in the Coke 600. And I think it was on NASCAR Heat 4, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been Heat 5, Season 1, and that chase for 8 with Jimmy Johnson, but I believe it was NASCAR Heat 4 where we set the record for 3 hours and 43 minutes. And Ken Schrader just got hooked on the 5 of Labonte, really crowded him down the front stretch. Labonte finally gets around him on corner exit, but once they made contact, they couldn't get off one another. Skinner gives him plenty of room at least. It's a good thing Labonte came in with no rivals, but he might leave with some knowing it's a short track here today. Surprised he didn't leave with as many as you would have thought could have happened at Martinsville. Coming off a caution-free race in the last race as well. Remember at California on Sunday afternoon, we went caution-free. That was the only caution-free race of the year. Junior, since getting into the lap traffic, has fallen from second back to fifth, and Michael Waltrip is up to second place and has been running there for about a half a dozen laps or so. Good run for him. Bobby Labonte into the top 3. Labonte's been really strong in the early going of the year. He's looking like a possible championship threat. He's got a couple of top 2 finishes in the last 3 races, including in the last race on Sunday at California. No problem, Elijah. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you left a like, and hopefully you can make it back by the finish of tonight's race. Kevin Harvick really struggling in traffic. He qualified poorly, but I think that's not just qualifying. He probably doesn't even have that much speed tonight. But he went 3 wide under Harvick and Sadler. Ooh, Sadler off the wall and into Harvick off of turn 2. The body just got right in the back. I heard Sadler a little bump and run on him accidentally there as well, but off of turn 2 as Labonte went 3 wide to the inside of Harvick and Elliott. They kind of got squeezed on the outside of him. Elliott gets into the wall, not hard, but enough to ricochet back into Harvick's car, and that slowed both of those guys up a little bit more now. Already a 7-second lead on Waltrip. 9 seconds back to Kurt Busch.
Still there. The 22 car is right behind you. Clear. The 42 car is outside.
Labonte underneath. The 42. He undercut that corner quite a bit, and that allowed him to get back into the gas maybe a little too soon. Overdriving it, and he had to really lift on corner exit, or he would have hit the wall pretty hard there. Good reaction, though, and now Steve Park is trying to crowd Terry Labonte. A little contact now with the both of them, as well as Robbie Gordon, so both the RCR cars right there. All 3 of them, really, if you count Harvick as well, all in the back half of the field in the early going of tonight's race. Not what Childress wants to see with his 3 race teams tonight. Here's the Daytona 500 winner, Ricky Craven. Marlin, who qualified at the back, he's trying to get to the front too, but not having as much luck right now at least. Kenseth's got that really cool looking paint scheme. The DeWalt schemes have always been pretty good, but that one looks pretty solid with the all black hood and the rear of the car. Even some of the side is more black than usual, and still got that nice gold DeWalt color on the side across the front bumper. Diamond Jeff, welcome to the stream. Tony Stewart falling a lap down early on. This was the site of Stewart's first career win back in 1999, for those of you that didn't know that. Already to lap 41. 10-second lead for Labonte. Nice, Jeff. Cars are really spaced out. Look at the track map, sorry, on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Really, really spaced out right now, but with that being the case, obviously you're seeing heavy lap traffic with the race leader pretty consistently. That is a good product of short track racing. Again, under the lights at Richmond here tonight on NASCAR Thunder 2004. We go to the All-Star race tomorrow night. A short 70-lap sprint. Winner takes home $1 million. Right here on this game, again, NASCAR Thunder 2004. That will start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. It'll be a lot of fun, that is for sure. Didn't have that great of luck back in Season 1 in the race, and now they're 3 wide into Turn 1. Contact between Ryan Newman, Terry Labonte. Rusty Walls is on the outside. Now the Penske cars are kind of crowding Terry Labonte there as Labonte tried to quickly get around him. Newman again back to the inside of Wallace for position. But they are both now a lap down, and already a 13-second lead as Labonte has led every lap at the start of tonight's race. Remember at Martinsville, the last short track, Labonte dominating, leading all but one lap, 499 of the 500 laps led. He's picking up where he left off as far as the short tracks go, winning at both Bristol and Martinsville this season. Drift going off into turn 1 there too, but he's going to get by Jimmy Johnson now as well. Tell you what, at the start of the year, I didn't know if the DNFs were going to stop there and the bad luck was going to stop for Terry Labonte. But the change of pace, the change of good luck, and just flat out running good in these short tracks that we've had 5 short tracks in the last 6 races at the end of tonight. If Labonte wins, that'll be 5 wins out of the last 6 races for him. What a hot streak that would be, and it would be his 4th consecutive victory as well if he can get it done. Some of these guys going 2 laps down now, like Fittipaldi and Mike Skinner. Oh, Terry Labonte got loose, slid up right into his brother Bobby. In turns 3 and 4. Lap 50, only 3 cars on the lead lap. That was some pretty significant contact, too. Again, 3 wide. Labonte gets pinched, but there was just nowhere to go that time. It wasn't like Wallace was blocking or anything. Well, now Wallace is blocking, and now he just door slams Labonte. Maybe a little payback, too, I guess. Not that Labonte hit him intentionally the corner before that, but they did make contact as Labonte got tight up the racetrack. Ken Schrader is definitely giving Terry Labonte a lot more room this time around to get around him. Not mad enough to take a swing at Labonte at least. So Terry will get around him pretty cleanly there. Kurt Busch about to go a lap down in third. Likely going to be a 3 pit stop race tonight. It could be a 2-stop race, but I highly doubt it. They'd have to go a little bit over 130 laps on a fuel and tire stint for that to be the case, and that's the first time Labonte's gotten in the wall today off of turn 4. Car's starting to get a little tighter, as we've seen over the last couple laps now, as these tires start to wear. Waltrip's got a couple lap cars in front of him, one of them being Labonte's teammate Joe Nemechek right there. And Labonte squeezes Waltrip on the brakes pretty hard there too. So Labonte tries to put him a lap down. Now he gets to the inside of Waltrip. A little bit of crowding going on right there. Labonte does put him a lap down. And already Terry Labonte's got a huge lead on the field. You guys watched the Martinsville race on this game last week, then you would know that that doesn't mean anything. He had 10 cautions in that race, and that was able to, at one point, be able to get quite a few guys back on the lead lap again by the end, because remember, Labonte had a 2-lap lead on the field there for a little bit. But this early in the race, it really doesn't matter. Caution here and there, not going to be too bad for Terry Labonte, but wow, Johnny Benson got really loose right in front of him. He's definitely blocking Labonte as well as he tries not to go 2 laps down. Labonte got a great drive off of 4. Slipped the tires a little bit getting into turn 1, but he does pass him. Coming up on those 3 RCR cars again pretty quickly. I mean, Labonte is just blowing a lot around these lap cars, especially everybody that's in the second half of the field. We still got a little bit of a ways for our first pit stops if we don't get a caution as well. So if we do get a caution, I'd have to imagine most of these guys would probably pit. So he's halfway on fuel. Lap 63 at the time of that happening. So mathematically, they could probably make it to about lap 126. Which, again, would make it a 3-stop race if I do my math correctly. That would mean the last stop would be right about with 25 laps to go if they tried to stretch it every single run, just less than 25 to go. So some of these guys might be able to make it on 2 stops if they can stretch it, again, about an extra maybe 10 laps compared to what Labonte's looking like he's going to be able to stretch it. Then it's definitely possible. Oh, Ricky Craven tried to pull a block on Terry Labonte. He definitely wasn't clear right in the center of turns 1 and 2.
I think he's starting to warm up to us. The 19 car is up high. Okay, we're clear.
Really chases the car up the track there going into turn 3 that time. Dale Jarrett runs really wide, and Jarrett kind of tagged the wall off of turn 4. Easy pass for Labonte to the inside.
Got one high. Still beside you.
Seen a lot of these guys get really loose on corner entry, not just Labonte from time to time either. You saw Vittopoli's rear tires kind of slide a little bit getting into turn 1. Just saw Labonte's do it. Sorry, into turn 3 rather. You just saw Labonte's do it there in turn 1 is what I meant to say.
Number 6 is still there. The 2 car is right.
Ally Rusty Wallace giving him plenty of room as he tries to hold up Mark Martin for position still.
The 4 car is outside.
At the start-finish line this time by, we're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time here tonight.
Take it easy on those tires.
Wallace trying to block a little bit there like he was earlier in the day as well. Big slide going into 1 and 2 there by Labonte. Oh! Brembo Dynamo got squeezed by Newman. He checks up off of turn 2, and Labonte just got into his left rear. Not heavy contact at all, though. Ryan Newman going to go a second lap down. So a lot of these faster cars starting to go 2 laps down now in tonight's race. Again, Labonte has a 1-lap lead on the field. It's average out every half a lap for whatever reason. We've seen that with this game before. Labonte seems to get a really good launch on the corner exit with these short track races as well. Or short track / flatter tracks, I guess, if you want to throw like New Hampshire in there. We haven't raced there yet this season. But with the manual shifting, or sorry, not the manual, the automatic shifting, it's kind of shifting automatically there when we get down to it. Elliott Sadler just squeezed Terry Labonte. Labonte just slid right into his teammate Johnson there as well. Let's see the cars start to take off on corner entry again. Tires are getting older and older, but Labonte knows pit stops will be on the horizon before he knows it. In the meantime, he's just got to hang on to that race car and just keep doing what he's doing. That's leading laps. Hopefully he can clinch the most laps led here right around the halfway point. A lot earlier than what I'm sure he thought he would have done, and now he pushes tight again off of turn 4, and for the second time tonight has gotten in the wall. The way running this mini weeds paint scheme here. Jonathan Rogers, welcome to the stream. Running at Richmond tonight, Pontiac Excitement 400 here on NASCAR Thunder 2004. Under the lights Dominant race so far for Labonte, trying to win 4 of the last 5 races. Trying to win 4 in a row and 5 of the last 6 races if he can go to victory lane tonight. A slow start to the season. He's still just over 1 race worth of points out from the championship lead. Hasn't led yet. This is the 11th race of the year. Big loose moment getting into turn 3. You really see those front tires start to slide a little bit, and he made slight contact with Kurt Busch. Tries to outbrake him going into turn 3 now. He's running over guys. I mean, that's just how fast Labonte is, though. These lap cars sometimes just can't get out of the way in time. If Labonte could just make it to the end of the race, he should be able to win. It's obviously not helping he's making contact with these guys, but majority of the time it's on corner exit. Not that he's getting back into the gas too soon. These other guys just can't get back into the gas as soon as Labonte. Go back to the far chase cam for now. Well, Jamie McMurray crowded him there. It wasn't so much Labonte got into the back of McMurray. It was more McMurray blocked. There's really no room for him to. Downshift into second gear that time. Labonte's got 2 lap lead on the field here. We're not even to lap 100 yet. What a pace Terry Labonte's setting out there. Remember, for those first 20 laps before lap traffic came into play, Dale Jr. was right on the back bumper of Labonte the entire time. And Waltrip was closing in too at the time when he was in third. It was a pretty tight battle, but then once the lap traffic came into play, these other drivers just can't get through it as well as Terry Labonte has so far. That has been the big difference maker so far. Labonte got squeezed on the apron. Came back up the track. A little contact with Tony Stewart. Nothing major, though. I don't think Labonte wants to be on the outside going into turn 1. Slight contact with Matt Kenseth in the 17. And Ricky Craven. Well, the bright side for Labonte would be that the car is not severely damaged. Oh, press the wrong button now. Try to pull up that damage indicator. Yeah, so no heavy damage, at least for Labonte, despite making contact with lap cars. Kind of figured that'd be the case with as unstable of a race car as he's had so far tonight. I'll have to wait and see if anybody tries to short pit as well. Trying to gain some sort of track position, but I'm sure the battle is going to be for second, and if we start getting cautions later in the race, then so be it at that point to help these other guys maybe get back in it on Labonte. But Labonte has been the short track racing king so far this season. I wonder if that will translate to the road courses. We only have 2 of them. Yeah, this is the 2003 schedule. That's when this game took place. So we're doing the actual 2003 schedule. So we only got 2 road courses in Infineon, now known as Sonoma, and then Watkins Glen. Thought for a second there, Bonnie was going to run right in the back of Sadler. Gave him plenty of room, though. Backs up the corner really well. He easily beats him back to the gas off of turn 4. He'll get around him on the front stretch.
The 6 car is outside.
Again, it's a good thing there's a decent amount of grip on the apron, especially at these flatter racetracks on this game. Because if this was NASCAR Heat 5, I would have spun out so many times already. But granted, if it was NASCAR Heat 5, I'd probably be able to hold my line a lot steadier too.
Number 25, top out. The 25 car is going hard. You're clear.
He's not racing you as hard as he could.
Right side. Okay, we're clear.
Almost a quarter of the way home already. Getting a 2-lap lead on the field for Labonte.
You're clear.
Kind of averaging out interval-wise. The end of every lap. Terry Labonte just squeezes in between the 16 and the 18. Great move. Made it look easy. Works to the inside of Ricky Rudd, who's back in the top 5. Remember, he qualified back in 2nd place at the very beginning of today's race. Fell back off the start quickly. I think he got stuck on the outside, but he's showing speed, and he's battling Junior for 4th right now. Even if Labonte has a runaway race, every point's so crucial this early in the season. Really all season, but this early in the year, again, you can make up ground pretty well. And Rudd is 7th in the point standings. He's having a pretty solid season so far. One of those drivers that are within a race of the points lead. Some of those guys running kind of mid-pack tonight as far as some of the early season championship contenders like Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, Bobby Labonte. Dale Jr. is the only driver in the top 4 in the point standings that is actually running in the top 5 right now. Actually in the top 10. The other 3 aren't even in the top 10 right now. So that could be huge for Dale Jr. But again, still early in the year. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's going to take a couple more races before we really start to see things space out in the point standings a little bit more. Again, it's the first time we've ran this mini-wheats paint scheme this season for Terry Labonte as well. Had a lot of luck with that Cheez-It paint scheme over the last week or so. Well, week to 2 weeks almost. That good luck with the Cheez-It paint scheme came simply because we were... Obviously, I was running well. But we had the packet of Cheez-Its. Well, oh boy, wow, Labonte almost nosed it into the pit wall there getting into turn 1. But anyway, we had the Cheez-It Greg Biffle hat that I have for Biffle's final full-time season in the Cup Series. I ran our Cheez-It paint scheme for part of the year, and so I bought a hat. So I had that. So we had our Cheez-It hat. We had a packet of Cheez-Its with us. And we found out at Texas that we have to open the bag of Cheez-Its during the stream for us to actually have good luck, because we finished 14th at Texas. And I did not open the bag of Cheez-Its, but I started opening the bag of Cheez-Its the next 3 races we ran that scheme, and we won all 3 of them, so that's good. Wow. I started to chase that car there for a second again. Downshifted to 2nd gear for him, and he just launched right on by those guys. There's Kenseth again. He's 2nd in points coming into this race here tonight. Early in the season, Kenseth having a solid year. Remember, Kenseth won the championship in 2003 in real life with this Winston Cup points format. So you never know. Maybe he can do it again here. Be pretty cool if he could. We are just over a quarter of the way through this race here tonight. Lap 104 right now of 400. Honey, just great long run speed on top of it. Obviously, he got through the lap traffic well to start the pull away to begin with. And all 4 tires are getting pretty worn right now. Not extremely worn. They're not in the red, but they're all in the yellow. A little bit of open traffic for about another lap or so now. Up ahead of Labonte. think it downshifted there because I don't think the car was going to turn if it didn't. I mean, it turned too much at the start of the corner, then it wasn't turning enough in the center until it downshifted to third.
All clear, buddy. All right.
Over 100 lap older tires, though. This is gonna kind of be the product of solar tires, especially on a short track. Again, no caution up to this point today. That'd be insane if we somehow won caution-free 2 races in a row. We only had 2 caution-free races all of last season. We have 1 already this year in the very last race we ran on Sunday at California. But that's going to be good for Labonte because Martinsville, when we had 10 cautions, it was really costing him. He needed more green flag runs that day, and he just wasn't getting them. Because he was better in the lap traffic and in the longer runs like you're seeing here in this race, but it ultimately cost him. He's got a 3-lap lead on the field right now, and this is the first fuel and tire stint. Again, we only have 3 pit stops scheduled for tonight's race, so again, we're already a quarter of the way through. Ryan Newman just like brake checked Labonte, and then David Green ran right into the back of him too, as Green wasn't even expecting that much of a checkup. He's been running a lot slower pace than Labonte and Newman.
Got one outside.
That car ain't running much longer. You need fuel. Go ahead and get on by. He's not gonna block.
Johnson kind of crowded Bill Elliott on the outside. Labonte's like, all right, thank you. I'll pass you both down the front stretch.
You're clear.
Junior's falling outside the top 5 now. Nobody has hit pit road yet for their first stop of the day. Though I'd have to imagine, again, that will be coming soon. Labonte's scheduled pit stop looks to be about lap 126.
Don't worry about a block. He's feeling nice today.
I'll try to make it that far. Wow, look at that car wiggle up the racetrack in 1 and 2. He's doing a great job not overcorrecting it. I mean, it looks like he's going to, but he doesn't. I am very surprised that
42 car. It's got a run on you.
we've been able to keep the car as straight as we have so far tonight. I was not expecting this with the new controller. I'm still trying to break in right now. The analog stick's a little on the touchy side for the moment. That's why you're seeing me wiggle as much as I have, because I've been getting a lot better at this game since we started the playthrough in Season 1. At just trying to keep the car straight. And like I'm struggling at the end of the straightaways even. On a track that we're only going like 140 miles an hour tops roughly before we get into the braking zone.
Pit road's getting busy. Leaders are headed
We
in.
have some drivers coming to pit road here. So our first driver's coming to pit road for green flag stops at lap 115. Bonnie kind of sees this, so he's anticipating a lot of these guys coming to pit road, so he's just got to be careful. And he's out of these guys' way when they do try to come onto the pits, and he's got to hope, obviously, he doesn't run them over as well.
You usually see him block here, but I guess you guys are friendly out
Kind of a tough pit road to get onto.
Number 32 is exiting pit road.
In practice, Labonte almost spun not once but twice trying to get to pit road. Actually kind of hit the inside wall a little bit too, so it's not an easy pit road to get onto, especially with this game. And Robbie Gordon trying to come to pit road, about turned Terry Labonte in the center of 3 and 4. Labonte's still going to try to stay on the racetrack as long as he can. I don't know if we'll get a phantom caution like we did at Martinsville and Bristol. We could. So maybe another reason that Labonte is staying out like he is. Oh, Martin! Pulled up right in front of Labonte there in 3 and 4. Was obviously not clear.
Hard side. Clear. Hard side. The 32 car is going hard. They're on both sides.
Well, there went Jeremy Mayfield off of that first pit stall, so
The 8 car down left.
just so much for that.
You're clear.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I've ever gotten a phantom caution at Richmond. Seems like those only come out at Bristol and Martinsville. Had it season 1 at Bristol and season 2. Twice season 2 here.
Cars headed down pit road.
Rusty Wallace coming into the pit lane. So Labonte is going to be one of the last drivers out on the track, and this is going to keep anybody else from leading laps. Granted, he had a pretty big lead anyway, so I don't know if that was going to be the case unless he has a really slow stop, which is not impossible. His pit crew has made quite a few mistakes in the very early going of the season as well. So we'll just have to wait and see if that will still be the case.
Take it easy on those tires.
There might be some of the drivers further back in the field that haven't pit yet. But for the most part, everybody's hit pit road outside of Labonte. Lap 124. Labonte's got about a half a gallon of fuel left. .125. Might be able to make it one more lap. We'll see down the back straightaway. Ricky Craven just coming off of pit road. Yeah, he only wasted about 1/10 of a gallon that last lap. Wow, big slide into 3. Big smoke show back there. So lap 126 now for Terry Labonte. He's led every lap so far here tonight. He is the last driver to have to hit pit road under green flag conditions. He did not get a caution. And Labonte will be coming to pit road at lap 126 as scheduled right here. A lot easier getting to pit road than what he did in practice, and I think the practice made perfect. No adjustments, 4 fresh tires. Damage will be repaired on Labonte Chevrolet. Not that he really has any heavy damage, but he will repair it. Pretty clean pit stop there for Terry Labonte and his crew. Pretty decent one, too. 17-second stop. Labonte stays on the bottom of the track. Now he'll pull back up down the back straightaway and off of turn 2 onto the racing surface itself. So Labonte was the last driver on the lead lap to hit pit road. As we come out of the pits, he's got about a 3-lap lead on Matt Kenseth. It might be 2 laps. I think it's still 3. Because I think everybody that's 4 laps down right there aren't actually 4 laps down. I think they're 3 down, but it's averaged out for the moment. So we'll see. This is where Labonte kind of struggled the most. Maybe not necessarily on actual... Well, he struggled on grip there. I'll have to say he hasn't struggled on grip with fresh tires at least, but he was struggling on speed there for about the first 20 to 25 laps of the race. So we'll see on these fresher tires this time if that will be the same. But once the air pressure starts to build up, I'm sure that long run speed will continue once again. Bonnie trying to catch that car, and Brett Bodine almost got into the back of him. Checked up just in time as Bonnie was about to not save the race car there for a little bit. By the way, 14 people have hit the like button so far, so thanks for everybody doing that. Not too many people watching so far tonight, but thanks for those of you that have tuned in here throughout.
I guess a little respect pays off. He not blocking like usual.
Like Benson might have gotten in the back of Bobby Labonte getting into turn 3 there. He's going to go underneath them. Hang on, boys. 3 wide. Contact again between Benson and Labonte. Boy, Labonte really was getting used up by Johnny Benson those last couple laps. And Terry's just kind of being safe behind him, making sure they don't wreck each other. Bobby almost got up into Ken Schrader off of turn 4 now. Now Terry tries to take advantage 3 wide to the inside of both of them. Oh boy, barely keeping it off Bobby Labonte, and he'll clear him off of turn 2. Wow, we still have drivers on the track that haven't pit yet. Couldn't tell exactly who it was that came to pit road there, but somebody was able to stretch it 134 laps. They might... See, that's what I was wondering, if somebody was going to be able to do that. I'm surprised we didn't have more cars do that. Labonte was one of the last drivers to hit pit road as it was. Now he doesn't have to pit again until well after the halfway mark. Probably looking at just less than 150 to go before he has to pit his second time today. And again, it's likely going to be a 3-stop race, but it might be 2 for whoever that was that hit pit road a lap or 2 ago. I think he just came out of the pits now. Ultra back up to second place. Ricky Rudd in third, Bobby Labonte back to fourth, and Jimmy Johnson rounds out the top 5. That little boy forever, welcome back. Welcome to the stream. Oh boy. Okay, it didn't look as bad. That one wasn't as bad as some of the other moments we had earlier, but I thought it was going to be there for a second. Car didn't turn as left as I thought it was going to, the way it kind of took off into the corner. A couple other drivers pitting right now, too. Some of it could be a window to making it on 2 stops to the end of the race, so that could be some of it. That is very risky to do that if that's what their strategy is. Especially with it being a short track, but they're already multiple laps down, so they figured, why not? We haven't had a caution yet. Still got over half the race to go. But a very, very fast race pace to start here tonight. This would be a surprising track to go caution-free, as I just saw Rusty Wallace get into the wall a little bit down the backstretch. Kyle Petty on his inside gave him plenty of room. Oh! Jeff Burton about got in the wall up before as well. I think he barely skimmed it. Oh, Petty! Down to the inside, was on the apron, got really tight. He overdrove the corner and almost got into the back of Labonte's car getting into turn 1. Darren Dill, Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Jeff Burton trying to block now. Well, it wasn't all the way clear, but at least they get hooked on the right rear. That would have been bad. David Green almost pushed into the wall off of turn 2 now as well. I mean, honestly, with as big of a lead as Labonte's got right now, he might even consider short pitting to make it a 1-stop race to the finish when the pit window opens to make it on 2. I mean, even if he loses a couple laps, it'll repair some damage. He doesn't have heavy damage now. That's just kind of like a backup plan if he does get heavy damage at some point during this race. Why not? Obviously, contact, as you've seen throughout, here and there with the lap traffic, but nothing too major right now. Labonte's just got a bad, fast race car. Again, the short tracks are looking like his specialty to this season. He has run really well in the short tracks. He's 2 for 2 at Bristol and Martinsville between winning those two, and he might go 3 for 3 tonight on the short tracks if he can win at Richmond. 3 different tracks too, might I add. Oh boy. Bonnie got really, really loose. Jeff, we do not need a caution. Need this to run green. That's going to be the best thing for Labonte. Again, we saw cautions pop up at Martinsville. It almost cost Terry Labonte the win. And he had a fast race car that day, similar to what he's got today as far as race car wise. He's led every lap so far today though. Up to this point, he led all but 1 lap at Martinsville that afternoon. Fuel mileage, we were able to go 126 laps on the opening fuel run. So the next scheduled stop, if we don't short pit, will be at about lap 154. Or sorry, 152. I do my math. Loosey-loose indeed. Car's on the looser side, but I don't even know if it's the car necessarily. I think it's more just me trying to get used to the analog stick. Again, this new one, I think the last one was broken enough to where it wanted to turn right so hard. Which I found out in practice it wanted to do that. But I think it got even worse. Like over time, and it probably wasn't as bad when I was driving with it before. So when I was turning really hard to get the car to turn, and I was, those races, for instance, where I was like really tight, I probably wasn't actually tight. It was probably the controller doing that. So now when it looks like I'm really loose like this with my newer controller, that isn't sticky at all, I think that was the issue. And now I'm like having that habit of like overturning the corners with this controller. And I tried the other new one too, and it was kind of the same way. So that's what I'm thinking what was happening. So it'll probably take me a couple races. But I was kind of hoping with a 400 lap race tonight that would really get me a lot of practice. Because I had about an hour and a half of practice or so between yesterday and today before the stream. Not all at Richmond, but just, with this game. So I'm doing another season mode offline. So I was just kind of like, running racetracks there as well. Just trying to get the feel of this new controller, because I think it's going to take a few races to get the hang of it, especially when we go back to these different tracks again. Honestly, when I first started with this controller, it almost felt like exactly how it did when I first started the playthrough at the beginning of Season 1, where I was trying to get accustomed to it still. This is exactly how it feels today. The only difference is I have been playing this game, for the last 6 months or so now, that it's really kind of helped. Oh, we actually don't have any rivals, so no. We didn't have any rivals going into California. We had a clean, caution-free race for the first time this year in the last race, and we had only allies coming into tonight's race. There was some contact earlier on between Labonte and Ken Schrader initially, about 30 laps in. Got Schrader to about minus 50 on the rival indicator, but minus 60 is where they start to actually try to make intentional contact with you in this game, so we're going pretty steadily right now. Looking really good. And again, Labonte wants to keep it that way. Needs this race to run green as long as it possibly can. Especially if he does decide to short pit. So again, he's got a 3-lap lead on the field. And a caution-free race through the first just over 150 laps at Richmond. We'll be halfway before we know it. Yep, 252 is the next pit stop. Well, 252 if we go to the end. That's how far we can go. 3 wide. Luckily, Labonte was able to hook the apron pretty well. Ooh, Michael Waltrip got in the wall off of turn 2. Good run for Waltrip tonight as well. This is as good as we have seen him since Rockingham when he won earlier this season. Waltrip started in the top 10. I believe he qualified in 8th, got to 3rd really, really quickly. And he's been in 2nd place pretty much this entire race outside of the cycling and green flag stops. He had a little slower stop, but he's worked his way back to 2nd. once again. So good run for Michael Waltrip.
You're clear.
Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream. Good luck to your Capitals tonight.
The 16 car is outside. Number 16 wants to get by you. Clear all around.
Thanks for stopping by. Hit that like button as well. For those of you that might not have done that already up to this point.
All clear, ready.
Haven't missed much. Caution free, and Labonte's putting a beating on the field here at Richmond. I'd say even more so than what he did at Martinsville a few races ago. Trying to go for 4 wins in a row. And 5 of the last 6. What a stretch Labonte has put on in the mix of these short tracks, as well as Talladega. Oh, Stanton Barrett and Labonte got together there in 1 and 2. Still has to make it to the end of the race. We still got a long ways to go as far as that goes. So anything can change, that's for sure. So far, so good. I think Labonte's going to consider short pitting, though. That window is open to make it on 2 stops to the end of the race. And I think Labonte's going to take it.
Number 30, top 5.
Why not? Give him even fresher tires. He only had to run about 20 to 25 laps at some point today if he was going to stretch the other runs out. So why not make it in the middle while we've actually ran green for a while and he's got a huge lead. Yep, thank you for stopping by, Tim. Really heavy lap traffic now in front of Terry Labonte. Labonte going to come to pit road in 2 laps is what we're going to be scheduling for. Way to the inside, 3 wide. Looks like Kenseth's made some contact with a couple drivers today, or somebody has made contact with him. I guess it's on the left side of the car. You know what they say, if there's damage on the right side of the race car, that means you're pretty fast and you're the one doing the moving, but if it's on the left side of the race car, that typically means you've been in the way. So I guess Kenseth's been in the way so far tonight. Lap 169 will be lap 170 when Labonte comes off of pit road. He's going to pit this time. So make it a 1-stop race to the finish from here. So Labonte will short pit. Be repaired on Terry Labonte's race car. So far, nothing major has happened tonight, Jonathan. Outside of Labonte just dominating, he still led every lap, and we are still caution-free. The reason why it's 400 laps at Richmond instead of 500 like Bristol Martinsville is because it's a little bit longer of a racetrack. Richmond's a 3/4 mile track. Martinsville and Bristol are half-mile tracks, so that's why it's 100 laps less. It's actually the same distance mileage-wise compared to the other 2 short track races, but because it's a longer track, that's why it's less laps. No mistakes on that pit stop there for Terry Labonte. So he'll work his way back out onto the racetrack. Tires once again. So now it's a 1 pit stop race to the finish for Terry Labonte, and he's still got about a 2-lap lead on Michael Waltrip. And he's got the freshest tires on the field, so he'll probably just start to eat that lead away again if we do stay green for a while before everybody else comes to pit road. And then Labonte will probably pit about 20 to 30 laps after them for his final stop as soon as that final pit window opens to the end of the race. Usually don't see short pitting on short tracks, but why not for Labonte's sake, having a big lead? The fact that we've ran caution free so far, It's interesting.
The 99 car is right behind you. Clear. The 21 car is up high. Number 21 is still there. Make it easy.
Learn something new every day, indeed. Trying to think if I've learned anything new today. I guess I've learned that. Well, I guess I learned that yesterday. I was gonna say, I guess I learned that this new controller is a little touchy with the analog stick right now. But I kind of learned that yesterday because I did practice for about a half hour yesterday and then an hour today. But we'll see. I'll get the hang of it again, just like I did with the last controller. Oh, a little contact up ahead between Greg Biffle and Brett Bodine. A couple of Bonnie's allies.
The 25 car is up high. Number 25 is passing high. They're on both sides.
Biffle kind of pinching him off there. Bonnie kind of gave him the room to do it. No need to race these guys too hard with a 2-lap lead on the field. Just really trying to stay out of trouble. We're almost halfway home. Wide to the inside. Good line there for the Bonnie despite hugging the apron. That's what he had to do to make sure he kept it off of Stanton Barrett and Brett Bodine in the center of the corner, and he did. Short pitting's a bad idea at Daytona. Yeah. Well, if you have drafting help, it can work, but honestly, Daytona, Talladega, tires don't really matter as much, especially since the repave at both racetracks. So there's really no tire fall off. Like, at least when it was bumpier tracks back in the early to mid-2000s, it kind of mattered a little bit if you were going to change tires, because you almost had to change 4 tires every stop. Unlike now, you can just go fuel only. So short pitting doesn't really matter. The only time short pitting really matters on a racetrack is if you don't have as much grip and there's a lot of tire fall off. Because then there's an actual decent amount of change in lap times from old tires to fresh tires. But if there's not as much fall off and there's not as much change, then short pitting doesn't really mean anything on those kinds of racetracks. And again, specifically it's those bumpier, more worn out surface tracks that are like that where you see a lot of tire fall off. If you have a newly repaved track like I guess Michigan's kind of that way. Michigan's slowly going back to maybe not necessarily as bumpy as it was, but the multi-groove racing is kind of working its way there. I'm trying to think of other Texas is another one where you don't see that much tire fall off at Texas. That was just reconfigured and repaved a couple years ago. Kentucky's the same way. That was repaved within a half a dozen years ago. Granted, they're not racing there this year, but similar situation there where there's just a lot of grip on the racetrack and there's just no tire fall off, especially with the 550 package on the intermediate. Well, I'd take that back because they run, although the cars are generally slower, the lap times actually aren't that far off compared to what they used to be, despite running 200 less horsepower than what we were used to with the Gen 6 cars originally, and a lot of that is because of the big corner speeds are way up compared to where they were, because there's so much on throttle time, and the idea is to not get out of the gas as much as possible instead of like being able to like actually back corners up to make moves. You can't really do that with the 550 package, and that is obviously the huge complaint about it. So it does create more dirtier air also with the taller rear spoilers. Oh, that sounds rough, Darren. Yeah, this game is really difficult. Like, I've had it. I don't think we've had an accident getting to pit road at Daytona or Talladega in this game on this playthrough. Whether it's season 1 or season 2, I don't think we've had it. But I've had it on my career mode offline, and then even my other season, like I ran Talladega today, in my warm-up for this race. And there's nasty wrecks. A lot of it is because it's a shorter race, so the pack's not as together. And the body's really having a hard time keeping control of his car the last lap or so now. But anyway, the cars are a little harder to keep control. But not only that, the AI kind of tends to run into pit road a little bit faster than, say, you do. So at Daytona and Talladega, when you're in a pack, there's like a huge checkup. And it's not even like with you. Like, it could be AI cars just wrecking into each other because they run in too hot into one another. Like today, I think I saw 3 cars flip coming to pit road. It was Kevin LePage, Jeff Burton barrel roll. Like, it was like a realistic barrel roll, too. And then Hermie Sadler, I think, ended up on his lid, too. They just ran right in the back of each other coming to pit road. And there was like 10 cars involved, and all 3 of those guys flipped. Oh! That was a hard hit. We stay green here at Richmond. I don't know what happened there. The body ran right into the side of a lap car, and that shot him back down the racetrack to the inside wall going into turn 3. We stay green somehow. And luckily there isn't heavy damage on the 5 of Labonte, which is good because he just hit pit road about 20 laps ago. That was a freak accident right there with Ryan Newman. Newman got a piece of the wall, too. Newman might be really upset. Labonte washes into Kenseth, who then made contact with Newman right there as well. That was interesting. Wonder how upset Ryan Newman is. He didn't take a swing at Labonte, so he must not be at minus 60. Thankfully enough for Labonte, that's the last thing he needs in a race while he's leading is a rival, especially on a short track like this where he's going to meet him at least a few more times before the end of the race still. We're almost halfway home. Labonte's led every lap up to this point still, with a 2-lap lead on the field. Sorry, 3-lap lead on the field over Michael Waltrip. Ricky Rudd in 3rd, Bobby Labonte still in 4th, and Jimmy Johnson still rounds out the top 5 behind race leader Terry Labonte. Minus 44. Oh, okay, for the right. I didn't see it when I got around him. Thanks for letting me know. Well, that's good. I figured it was below 60 because he didn't try to take a swing when we passed him that second time. Lap 200. We'll be halfway this time by. That means to get the 10 bonus points for Terry Labonte, he's just got to lead 2 more laps because he's already led all of them up to this point. So Labonte will have 10 bonus points coming his way. I don't think we have had an engine failure, at least not that I've seen. We probably could have had one at some point. I don't think we've actually seen any yet. So we're halfway home. There's Michael Waltrip about to go 4 laps down in second. And he will into turn 3. So Labonte taking control with these fresher tires after short pitting. And it is helping him a ton right now as we're still caution free. He has led the most laps today. He has led every lap today. So 10 bonus points will be going his way at the end of the race as he got into the back of Park on corner exit. Got back in the gas a little too soon to get around him there. Boy, Skinner right there. Bonnie giving Skinner plenty of room on the inside. He doesn't want to crowd him. And he'll get around him right there. Make the turns look easy. These turns have been treacherous for me today. I'm getting better because we're 200 laps into the race, so I'm becoming more comfortable with the analog stick and the steering wheel. Thankfully, we made it this far. Honestly, before we started the stream, I was really scared. I thought we were going to have a short race tonight. I really didn't think we were going to make it more than an hour into the race. I thought we were going to crash out like maybe 100 laps in, if that. Because honestly, when I first jumped into practice, even at this track again today, even after practicing for about an hour and a half within the last 2 days, trying to get used to this analog stick, you're still seeing the issues like right there with it. But it's not as consistent as what it was like in practice, for instance. That first practice session at this track that I ran about 20 laps, and I ran qualifying, ran one good lap, qualified on the pole, and then ended up kind of working it out with another 20-lap practice session after qualifying and happy hour. There's Newman at minus 44, really trying to crowd Terry Labonte as Labonte tries to keep it off of him. Did a great job doing it. Really needs to keep it off Newman, so a nice clean pass there. Makes a little bit more contact with him. Newman might become a rival, and that's not what Labonte wants to see. And this is exactly what helped Terry Labonte at California in the last race. Was obviously the long run speed that we've seen out of his car. Not every race this year, but most races. And with that long run speed, just not having cautions. Well, as I say that, well, there wasn't a caution for that. Labonte really let that car wiggle a little too much, and he washed right up into the 0-2 of Hermie Sadler. Nothing major, though, damage-wise, or contact. The visual of it actually looked worse than what the outcome ended up being. We came close at Martinsville to leading every lap in the race. We might be able to do it here today at Richmond. You know what's insane is that on NASCAR Heat 5, the entire playthroughs we did on Heat 4 on the channel, I didn't do it. Well, I did it once in an Xfinity race. At Watkins Glen, I led every lap. But as far as like the Cup races go, I didn't do it. And then we go to Sonoma on Heat 5, like a month ago? No, it was more than a month ago. It was probably a couple months ago, I guess, because that was a little earlier in the season. And we led every lap in that race with Ryan Blaney on Season 2 of Heat 5. And we almost did it at Martinsville. We led all but one lap. midway through the race, Marlin was able to get the lead on a restart for one lap, and Labonte passed him right back. But here today at Richmond, it's definitely possible.
3 wide. 17 cars passing Hines. Okay, we're clear.
It's still a 4-lap lead on the field. It averages out. It averages out for whatever reason with this game. Ricky Rudd, though, by the way, just climbed up to second place, passing Waltrip. So right back to where Rudd qualified here tonight.
I'd like to see him stay back there.
You're clear.
And we thought Martinsville was Labonte's most dominant race. I think we have to give that to Richmond if he continues what he's doing and goes on to win. He's only one pit stop away from the finish. That window is going to open up in about 70 laps or so.
Number 30, no pass. The 30 car is
Contact between Labonte and Waltrip. A little bump and run, perhaps. Short pitting is really paying a big factor for Labonte right now, too. Knowing that these guys have to pit even before he does on this next stop, too. Just makes this even better for him. Welcome back, Jeff.
right side. Clear.
Huge line of lap traffic coming up in front of Labonte. This is going to be a true test of how well that car's handling right now. Everybody else is probably handling worse than his. Definitely nowhere near as fast. I'm glad I made the right adjustments, too, because I definitely wouldn't have been able to race with that default setup. There's no way. How loose this is with the analog stick. I mean, you guys see, or have seen under the two cautions we've had today, I have a round and a half of wedge in the car on top of the downforce to try and keep this car as glued as I can in the corners.
Number 38, top five.
Decent amount of air pressure to keep it from being too tight.
All clear, buddy.
And I mean, that alone just made it fast.
He's not racing you as hard as he could.
Right side.
Ooh, contact there, Robbie Gordon.
Clear all around.
Gordon was going to pull up behind him and
Shot one
kind of
outside.
mistimed it. Oh, wow. Johnny Benson got really tight off of 4 as well. He about ended up in the wall.
Clear.
I think he kept it off of it, though.
Number 29 is outside. 40 cars all over your back bumper. You're clear. Number 12 is trying to block you. The 12 car.
Again, these 30 to 40 lap fresher tires have really helped Labonte this run.
Save your tires.
Actually, he's got fresher tires than that because remember, he was the last car to pit under the first set of stops as well before even short pitting the second time. So he's probably got closer to 50, 60 lap fresher tires. It's making a difference, that's for sure. Most of these guys still on a 2-stop race to the finish. Labonte on 1.
Shot one outside.
Been a near perfect race up to this point.
He's not racing you as hard as he could.
As perfect as it can get for Terry Labonte.
Small pass. Okay, we're clear.
Go ahead and get on by. He's not going to block.
Shot one outside. All clear, buddy. Number 8 is going high.
It's insane. 5 laps on the field. Not in Season 1 and not so far in Season 2 have we seen a race like this. Dominated by one driver, and that is us here tonight, riding as Terry Labonte again, trying to go on a dominant performance. If he finishes this race off with a win, already leading the most laps, leading every lap up to this point, that will also mean nobody will even get a single bonus point for leading 8 laps, so that will help him. On top of the fact that outside, or I should say nobody in the top 5 in this race tonight is in the top 4 in the point standings. It is very well possible that Labonte could be less than 100 points back at the end of this race. He can't take the points lead. He's too far back mathematically. He can get as close to about 40 to 50 points back. But if he keeps this pressure on, maybe even gets another caution, or gets our first caution in the middle of green flag stops, it kind of randomizes the running order even more. That would be insane. Definitely got to be careful with these guys pitting though right now. Contact Skinner ran right up into Labonte. Biffle kind of crowding Labonte now as Labonte gets on by. Hang on, everybody. This could get interesting into turn 3. Wow! Is that Hermie Sadler on the fresh tires? No, not Joe Nemechek. The 01 of Jerry Nadeau. Just shot in there with the fresh tires to get by all these guys on older tires. He washed up the track a little bit there. Oh, wow, Elliott just shot in there. Contact between Jerry Nadeau and Terry Labonte on corner entrance. I think Kenza checked up right in front of Nadeau, and Nadeau couldn't check up in time, and neither could Labonte apparently. Or that driver that flew by on the inside of Bill Elliott. I don't even think Elliott tried to check up. He just sent it in there. Bonnie's going to have the oldest tires in the field when everything cycles through. Thanks for declaring me the best in this game, but I am not the best at this game. I can tell you that much. I think Dale Reynolds, a dude named Dale, is probably the best I've seen at this game. Watcher supporter of the channel, by the way, as well. He's been doing a career mode at 100% live streams. He's a lot better with trying to find custom setups, too. So he'd be a good guy to go to if you're looking for setups. But he's been doing a playthrough of the career mode 100% races that he just started up, trying to win a championship in the first season. And like right now, he's in the top 10 in points, and he's actually got a win already. He just won the All-Star race last week, I think was the last one I happened to see. I didn't watch it live, but I saw he won it, and I try to pop in from time to time. Mainly because he does it here, trying to repay the favor, of course. It's good content. He doesn't do like a realistic broadcast or anything like I do, but he does the full race with this game, with the career mode on this game, so that's definitely a testament. He's slow some races because, you know, he just doesn't have the equipment being a rookie. For those of you that have played the career mode on this game, you would know what I'm talking about. So the fact that he's able to compete in a full race like that, and he's a lot smoother than what I am. Like, him at Richmond when he won his race, and he actually won his by a lot like I am right now too, but he's so much smoother. Like, I'm having a hard time trying to get into the corners, as you're seeing right here. From time to time, I never see him do that, or very rarely. Like, when the tires get old on this game, I have a hard time trying to keep control of it. It's a lot harder with this new controller as well, until I get used to the analog stick. and the feel of it, but I definitely appreciate the quoted the best at this game, but I definitely not. Winval's pretty good too. With his playthrough. I haven't watched too many other people's playthroughs, but I would have to imagine a lot of the NASCAR YouTubers are probably better than me at this game. Again, I didn't really play this game much as a kid either, so I didn't have a ton of practice with this game coming into this playthrough. 05 and 07 were the two games that I think of the classic games I'll probably end up winning the most. But even then, it's been a long time since I've played those games. So we'll see. Johnson's been trying to get back around Terry Labonte the last couple laps. Labonte getting pinched by the 27 of Montgomery, and full contact. Oh, car on the wall! Down the racetrack. Sterling Marlin, we stay green at lap 246. Into turns 3 and 4, Marlin went really wide, slid into the outside wall, back down the track as Labonte and other lap cars are able to miss him at least. Look at all that tire smoke he caused too. Wow, look at this lap traffic now. This isn't gonna be pretty at all, I don't think, for Labonte trying to get through it. Especially with him being on a little older tires. You have a lot of guys on fresh tires up here. Some probably on old still. That's kind of jogging this pack up. And Labonte's playing it smart and going all the way to the inside. 3 wide under these guys. Now he runs hard into the back of Tony Stewart. Kevin LePage is really holding this group of cars up. Labonte finally gets around them all. Made pretty hard contact with Stewart. The track kind of opens up a little bit now as we have about 152 to go. Exactly 152 to go. That right front is pretty damaged on Labonte's car now after that hard contact with the left rear of Stewart's car. Stewart's coming right back through the middle in between that is Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart went 3 wide in between Jeff Green and Terry Labonte here. His fresh tires obviously paying off for him. Labonte's hanging strong on the inside. He's got to take care of the right front. And Rudd is underneath Stewart now. He's just kind of struggling with the handling of the car. The pit window's almost open to the end, though. About 25 to 30 more laps, and Labonte can pit. Might try to go a little bit further, but with how damaged the right front is, if he gets into heavy lap traffic again, or these guys even start to get around him, I think he's going to consider pitting. Kenny Wallace is holding these guys up now. Wow, just squeezing the inside. Stewart to the outside, 3 wide as they split Wallace. Labonte to the inside of David Green. He'll get around him in 1 and 2. That's going to hold Stewart up as he uses him as a pick to stay in front of Stewart. Another car on pit road. It's a one-stop race to the finish for Labonte. He's got a 7-lap lead, but he still has to pit pretty soon here. Everybody else just came off of pit road about 20 to 30 laps ago. Some of them even less than that. And I'll tell you what, LePage, Wallace, those guys really just checked up the field there. David Green included. Green at least had fresher tires, but Wallace and LePage did not. And they just stacked all those faster cars up really fast. Really quickly. Lot of open room to run, at least for Labonte right now, so I guess that's pretty nice. More of the lead cars coming to pit road. Hard to tell who that was. Michael Waltrip back to second, getting around Kenseth. More lap traffic right in front of Terry Labonte. Oh, man. It's like they were below 70 miles an hour there getting into turn 3. Kevin LePage is just really slow. I wonder if LePage blew an engine and then came back on the track, because he is really slow. I mean, Labonte just got around LePage. It was probably less than a dozen laps ago, and then he kind of held up Sprague. Labonte couldn't check up, so more damage to the front of Labonte's car again. Ooh, boy. Big moment there for Terry Labonte. Yeah, something. I mean, one way or another, LePage is ridiculously slow on the track, and I think he's just out there trying to collect more points. I guess you can't blame him for that. He's just really, really slow, though. That's what's clogging up these big packs. A 7-lap lead on the field here for Labonte over Waltrip. And Michael Waltrip's the next lap car after Brett Bodine, so it's about to be 8 laps on the field. Labonte does have to come to pit road before everybody else, so he'll probably give up 2 to 3 laps there again, but even still, what a lead and what a race that Terry Labonte is having. Ooh, really locked up the brakes as Waltrip kind of took his line away. Labonte to the inside of Michael Waltrip as he'll make the pass into turn 3. Almost feels like this damage is making Labonte's car even tighter. So again, I guess when he's going to make a pass, he's going to have to make sure he checks up a little bit more to make sure he doesn't wash all the way up. He almost washed into the 16 of Biffle. Yes, both the front tires are getting a little worn as well. Only has about 10 more laps, and then that pit window is going to open up to make it a 1 more stop to the end of the race. Fun race tomorrow night on the channel here on Thunder 04. Again, the All-Star race. As our coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. Friday night All-Star race action going to be a lot of fun here on NASCAR Thunder 2004, so hopefully you guys can tune in for that one. It's definitely a wild race back in Season 1. We couldn't make it to the end. We actually crashed out at the end of Segment 2 in that race. There was a couple big crashes in there, but there was just hard-fought comers and goers battling for the lead like all throughout. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can make it to the end and see an even better finish to our Season 2 race there. Burton really took a low entry into Turn 1 to get around Schrader. I think he's trying to protect on Terry Labonte right now, too, and Labonte just got into the back of him. Jeff Green is up in smoke. Problems for Jeff Green. We got another car on the inside of the track who's blowing up. Oh, Bobby Labonte. Labonte was in the top 3 for most of the night. Tough break for him. That is his 3rd blown engine in the last 6 races. So it seems like Labonte has brought fast cars to the track, but he's either blowing an engine or he's running in the top 5. Or both. Tough break there for Bobby Labonte. Once again, so 2 blown engines in the span of about a lap. We didn't really see any in this race up until then. But unfortunately, for both those 2 drivers, it looks like their night's going to come to an end. They might be able to get their cars back on the track like Kevin LePage did. But that's kind of what LePage needed, I guess. I'm not sure how long he was out for, but it could be a couple extra spots with just over 100 to go still that he can maybe gain by the end of the race. I don't think Labonte's going to pit right when that window opens here in about another 1 to 2 laps. Even though he's got heavy damage on the right front, he's going to be careful. I think he's going to be shooting for right about 100 to go. Right about lap 300 is when Labonte is likely going to come into the pits. Unless he gets a little bit more damage on the right front, then I don't think he's going to risk it. He'll bring it into the pits. But just to make sure he's going to make it on fuel, he'll take it quite a ways past, which obviously that will be more than enough to make it 100 laps there. Also kind of help that his tires won't be as worn out as well. Then again, he's only got 4 gallons of fuel left, so he might not quite be able to make it that far into the run. Obviously, if he has to pit for fuel before that, he will. Deep Casey Mears went. Kind of like we saw with another lap car or 2 earlier where he drove it in deep to try and block Labonte, and at the same time he's able to get around another car in the process. Labonte gets loose, washes up the track into Mears. Now Mears hits, oh no, he just barely kept it off the wall, off of turn 2. Figure with Craven underneath him and how wide of an exit Mears had to the exit of turn 2. It looked like he was going to get in the wall, but I guess he didn't. So all 4 tires pretty worn out here, at least in the yellow on Labonte's car. Barely keeps it off Harvick going into 1. Just stays in front of Nadu. But he really doesn't want to damage the front of his race car up. Harvick's checking up quite a bit getting into turn 3 though. Labonte beats him back to the gaskets underneath him down the front stretch. Oh, Labonte might have sent it too hard. No, not quite. They get around both Harvick and Bill Elliott there. Inside of Stanton Barrett off into turn 3 now as well. Labonte continues to just drift and slide into the corners. And do that most of the race today. But he has survived. That's all that matters, I guess. So again, an 8-lap lead on the field for Labonte. He'll be coming to pit road pretty soon. About 2 gallons of fuel left for Terry Labonte. Obviously helps with the softer right front of his race car as well, that he doesn't have any rivals to even take a shot at him right now. Him and Schrader are close, but they're not quite mad enough.
Number 02 is outside. The 12 car is attempting a box. Clear all around. Got one outside.
Finally back to the inside of Ryan Newman.
Number 12 is still
Heads into the corner, keeps it underneath him though. Gonna get around Mike Skinner as well. Off of turn 4. We are nearing 100 laps to go here in tonight's race at Richmond. The Pontiac Excitement 400, but we have not really seen any Pontiacs anywhere close to the front here in tonight's race. A lot of Chevrolets in the top 5. Got some cars on pit road taking their final stops of the race. At least scheduled stops.
still there. Careful.
You're not making any friends out there.
Contact with Sadler and Terry Labonte right there. Well, I don't think Labonte's quite going to make it to lap 300, but he'll be pretty close. So Labonte will be pitting very, very shortly.
Go easy on those Eagles.
And another big slide going into 3 and 4. Didn't want to come to pit road that time. He about did it on accident. There's a long slide in the center of the corner. He'll have fresh tires here before he knows it. Center pit road about perfectly both times today, too. Even better that second time through as well earlier. Jeff Gordon looks like he's trying to crowd and block right now. I haven't seen much of Gordon in the top 10 the last couple races. Like we did at the very start of the year, how he got that win at Atlanta, very beginning of the season, 4 races in. Gordon looks like he's struggling with a loose car, too. He got really loose into turn 3 himself.
Is outside.
He's working with you, so give him some room. Normally, you'd see him block right about now.
Just under a gallon of fuel left for Terry Labonte.
Got one out.
Probably go a couple more laps.
Clear.
It's kind of varied whether he's lost anywhere between 1 to 3/10 of a gallon of fuel. Contact that right front there with Johnson as they were 3 wide underneath Biffle as well. Oh, contact there between Biffle and Johnson on the exit of turn 2 after Biffle bounces into the wall. Half a gallon of fuel left here for Labonte. Not going to pit this time. So looks like he'll be able to make it the full fuel run underneath of Kenny Wallace. Jamie McMurray off of turn 4, lap 297.
Wants to get by you. You're clear.
Labonte might stay out one more lap. So Labonte's going to stay out one more lap. Wow, another big slide in 3 and 4. He'll pit at lap 298. Hard locking the brakes into 1 and 2 that time. Pretty clean traffic for the most part. Labonte down on the inside of the track. Gonna just kind of coast it to pit road. 4-tire stop, final pit stop of the race for Terry Labonte. He can fix the damage on the right front of the car. No adjustments as well. This is the money stop to what has been just a very, very interesting race, to say the least. This race is flying by. Less than 2 hours since the start as well, and about 3/4 of the way home here at Richmond. And that is just the product of there being no cautions, really. Brush there. Trying to get up to speed on the inside wall. Again, that was the product of me turning the car too much. Even getting up to speed. I don't think every driver has made their final pit stop yet, but most of them have. So Bonnie just took his final stop right there. We'll have 100 laps to go this time by here today at Richmond. So there it is, 300 laps complete, 100 laps to go. About a 6-lap lead on the field right now for Terry Labonte. And he doesn't have to pit anymore the rest of the race, scheduled at least. If he does pick up more damage between now and the finish, he's got a lot of laps. That's the strategy he pulled off at Martinsville. Remember, he pitted with about 40 to go there. Just trying to make sure he was going to protect that car to make it to the finish, because he had, I think that was even like a 2 or 3 lap lead on the field. So he's got even more than that here today at Richmond. Oh boy. Big wiggle there as well. Another huge line of lap traffic. I wonder if Kevin LePage is holding these guys up again. I don't think that would be impossible at this point. Somebody's holding this group of cars up, that's for sure. Oh! I think it's Kevin Harvick. Contact with Tony Stewart. Minus 48 on Stewart now. Second time he's kind of gotten into him pretty hard today. So just sends it into the corner to get by Kenseth and Harvick there. Harvick really holding those guys up. I think he's on older tires. Kenseth back to the inside of Stewart again. Stewart's kind of had a little bit of a rough day as he's still trying to rally. Maybe he can salvage a top 10, who knows. Kenseth just gave Labonte enough room, and he'll drop to the bottom to pass his teammate Biffle behind Labonte instead of in front of him there. I think LePage might have pulled back off the track again, because we haven't seen him in a while. We were seeing him there like every 10 to 12 laps for a little bit. Another slide into the corner, 3 wide. Labonte's all the way to the apron. Really got pinched down there by Ken Schrader. Played it smart, working his way back onto the racetrack and the racing line pretty slowly, so he wasn't just going to cut right back up in front of other traffic.
Don't worry about Buck. He's feeling nice today.
Clear. Got one outside. You're clear.
90 laps to go. Texas, Terry Labonte. Trying to win at Richmond.
Taking it easy on you. Is anyone else you'd be blocking?
Starting to undercut the corner a little bit too much again. We've seen this. Some of it is him getting crowded by the lap cars, but obviously a large part of it is probably, again, me even over 300 laps into the race, still trying to get used to the analog stick on this new controller. Going to alternate to the different camera angles one final time now in today's race. We haven't done it since before the lap 100 mark earlier, so it's been a little while. Why not try it again here with just less than 100 to go? Oh! Body slid up right into Rusty Wallace there. I think a little contact further back. Oh, more contact! This might not have been a wise decision to alternate to the camera angles at this point in time. Bonnie's made pretty heavy contact with a few drivers since the last couple laps. Well, I guess we stay green. That's the most important thing here. Bonnie sends it into the corner to get by Bill Elliott.
Normally, you'd see him block right about now.
A lot cleaner than the first couple laps. We started alternating through the different camera angles. There was really heavy lap traffic, though, right around Labonte when he first started to do it, too, so that probably didn't help. We're all right. A little bit of damage to the race car, but nothing too major, of course, to at least hinder the speed in it. So Labonte has just absolutely dominated tonight's race. That was a big-time crossover to the outside of Elliott Sadler off of turn 4. It is very well possible that history could be made tonight for Terry Labonte and leading every lap in the race. And honestly, it would be tough for anybody else to lead a lap at this point with no more pit stops left for the majority of the field. But that includes the race leader. Wow. Big loose moment getting into 1 and 2 there. Just less than 80 laps to go. Never done that on this game. Never led every lap in a race. We might do it here tonight at Richmond. Go back to the far chase cam now for the rest of this race.
He's not racing you as hard as he could.
Only ever done it once in a cup race on the channel and just in general with these full races, where we've led every lap in a cup race, but never have we done it on NASCAR Thunder 2004, so that would be a pretty cool feat if we could do it. 75 to go still this time by. Much momentum heading into the next crown jewel event of the year. The Coke 600 is the next points-paying race. A little bit of a warm-up with an all-star race 2 nights before, because that race will be tomorrow night. You go back to NASCAR Heat 5 Saturday night at Martinsville on NASCAR Heat 5 for the Cup Series. An ultimate race of the season there. So we winded things to a close. Gonna try to get a career mode episode uploaded to the channel here in the next couple days as well, so be on the lookout for that. Career mode for NASCAR Heat 5, that is. I'm sure you guys probably already assumed that's what it was when I said career mode, but just in case you're new and wondering, wait, on this game? No, NASCAR Heat 5.
Number 31 is looking right. Clear. Number 2 is down low. Clear on both sides. Got one outside.
Casey Mears kind of crowding Terry Labonte now.
You're clear. Right side. Clear on both sides.
Oh boy. I was looking at my phone there for a second. I got a text message of Jeremy Mayfield. I didn't even get to read all the text message. Hopefully it's not anything too important.
Still there. Clear on both sides.
65 laps to go tonight at Richmond.
Number 16.
This time by, at least. Terry Labonte trying to cap off this dominating performance with perhaps a win.
Clear all around. The 38 car, no pass. Number 38 is gaining on you. All clear, buddy. The 42 car, no pass.
9-lap lead on the field for Terry Labonte. Complete and utter domination. He's led every lap so far tonight. It may very well be a perfect race. Perfect race as far as no cautions, too, which has obviously helped him lead as many laps as he had.
Don't worry about a block. He's feeling nice today.
Clear on both sides. The 97 car, no pass.
Hey, be careful.
Another big check up there as Labonte ran right in the back of Harvick.
Take care of
That was a big slide.
Okay, we're clear.
Keep him behind you if you can.
Hold it steady. 3 wide.
Dale Jr. holding the pack up now.
Number 25, the 25 car wants to get by you. So they're all around.
So something I kind of noticed
Number 10, top 5.
as far as the chat goes, it looked like we had more likes.
You're clear.
And then I noticed it dropped down to like 15. I was like, okay, I thought we had like 17 or 18 for some reason. And now I see 13. I know I just saw 15 on there like a couple minutes ago. I know my eyes weren't deceiving me there. 59 laps to go for Labonte. Most dominating win of his career if he can cap this one off tonight. Again, it'd be 4 wins in a row. Nobody's ever won 5 races in a row. We actually did on season 1 here on Thunder 04, but we're going to take that out of context and see if Terry Labonte can make history at the Coke 600, assuming he caps this race off as well and winning 5 points-paying races in a row. And there's a lot of momentum heading into that All-Star race when we know there's going to be $1 million on the line. Labonte was hard on the brakes for a long time there. Still got into Rusty Wallace. My goodness. Still has to take care of the car. We're not to the finish yet.
He's taking it easy on you. Is anyone else? He'd be black.
The 31 car is outside.
Some of the leaders are coming in together.
Clear.
So I believe the last of the drivers that have to pit are going to pit right now. Next full race live stream is going to be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. All-Star race on NASCAR Thunder 2004. So a little bit of a shorter stream, shorter race, but it will be action-packed, I'm sure of it. No qualifying for that either. It's a random draw, so no clue where we're going to start until the actual start of the race. We're rolling through the starting lineup at the beginning of the stream. Uh-oh, 3 wide. Right in front of Labonte. Look at Kenny Wallace making moves on Jeff Burton and Mark Martin. Oh, man. Labonte tried to follow him, and he slid right into the side of Wallace.
So they're all around.
Off the exit of turn 2.
Number 16, top 5. Clear.
Team cars are in.
Got one outside. They're on both sides.
Michael Waltrip's falling outside the top 5. He's just coming off of pit row, so he stayed out for a really long time, and that cost him quite a few positions. Oh! Waltrip just turned in front of Terry Labonte, and he spun himself head on into the wall into turn 3. Caution's out for the first time tonight. At lap 348, it looked like we were going to go caution free. What was Waltrip thinking? I don't understand why he did that. He tried to block Labonte going into 3. He was just coming off of pit road and trying to, I don't know, I mean, he had to have been trying to block him. Labonte's going to hit pit road, repair any damage he's got on his race car. He doesn't want to risk anything. Everybody will take the wave around. First caution of the night. It looked like we were going to go caution-free for back-to-back races, and Waltrip turned himself off the front bumper of Terry Labonte. Again, I am not sure at all why he did that.
cars stayed out on that caution, so we're starting toward the back.
Labonte, the only driver on the lead lap, so again, he'll hold on to the lead. Everybody else will restart to the inside. Fresher tires for Labonte. He wanted to make sure he repaired damage. Now he kind of spins the tires on the restart. Green flag back in the air. And he'll get himself to the bottom right there behind Stewart. And he gets back to the inside. Is Stewart going off into turn 3? He'll pass him there. These fresher tires. Now we'll try to work on Jeff Burton. And work with some clean air advantage here for a little bit, perhaps. That's still mind-boggling to me that Waltrip aggressively blocked Terry Labonte, and this is after he came out of pit road, so he already lost a lot of spots, fell outside the top 5 at least. And that's our first caution of the night. That's actually kind of a bummer. I was hoping we were going to go caution-free again. Might as well have at this point. How big of a lead Labonte's got, but I guess Waltrip thought otherwise. That was obviously not his intention, was to turn himself off the front bumper of Labonte. That was a hard hit into the wall. I'm surprised Waltrip's still running. I think Jeff Burton actually pitted too and has fresher tires because he's keeping pace and hanging on in front of Labonte right now. Some of it could be clean air, of course, for Jeff Burton as well. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it also. Labonte's still overdriving the corners a little bit. Ricky Rudd trying to get the 9 laps down on him. So is Ryan Newman. They're both battling for second place. Newman looks to the inside of Rudd off of turn 2. Newman's definitely hanging in there on Rudd as they battle for second. Both drivers qualified in the top 4 tonight. 3 drivers that qualified in the top 3 are running 1, 2, 3. Not that specific order. Newman qualified 4th. Rudd qualified 2nd, and Labonte qualified on the pole. So for the pole and leading every lap, it's very well possible here tonight for Terry Labonte. Ryan Newman just passes Ricky Rudd off of turn 4, clears him for 2nd with 41 laps to go. Labonte ran a little high there, almost allowed Newman to get under him. Newman just trying to get away from Rudd. Trying to pull away and just keep second for himself the rest of this race. We'll have traffic coming up pretty quickly here. Kevin LePage still on the racetrack. We know he's really slow. And Labonte will get underneath him. Oh, wow. Hard into the inside wall goes Labonte into turn 3. Rudd passes him on the outside. He also got around Newman for 2nd as well. Rudd really pinching Labonte down there. Labonte's got some pretty significant damage on the left front of his car now. So he's going to have to be careful. He might have to bring it down to pit road again. He just repaired the damage that Waltrip caused, bringing out that first and only caution about 20 laps ago. Less than that. Caution came out at lap 348. Biffle and Fittipaldi almost made contact off of 4. Newman back to 2nd, so Ryan Newman, Ricky Rudd just keep going back and forth for 2nd right now. Bonnie's going to try to keep the car on the racetrack, but don't be surprised if he pits before the end of the race trying to repair the damage on his left front as Biffle got into the back of the 49 of Schrader off of 4, and Biffle gets around him on the outside. Not a textbook bump and run because he passed him on the high side, but I guess it worked nevertheless for him. I don't even know if they're for a position or not, to be completely honest. Bonnie clearing Biffle off of turn 2. Kyle Petty checking up right in front of the race leader, Labonte. Just talking about Labonte having to take care of the left front, and then that happens. Creating just a little bit more damage. There's a good chance Labonte's coming to pit road very soon. Just to be safe. Better safe than sorry. This is a race he can't throw away.
Number 2, top 5. You're clear.
He's got the laps to give it up. Oh! Another loose moment getting into turn 3, or turn 1 rather, other end of the racetrack as Labonte holds on to it. Ryan Newman closes to his back bumper again. Oh, car on the inside. Newman just ran right into the side of Labonte there. After Labonte tried to duck and evade the lap car up in smoke of Brett Bodine into turns 1 and 2. A bit of pandemonium here late in this race.
The 12 car is outside. Still beside you. Contact with Verizon.
Bumping around to Kurt Busch.
Clear all around. All right.
He's had some good things to say about you lately.
Number 20 is getting in your way.
Stewart trying to block.
Number 12 coming
Not mad enough to take a swing at Terry Labonte. He was definitely crowding him. Now he slid up right in front of Newman. Costing Newman a little bit of time. .26 laps to go. Terry Labonte's going to hit pit road this time by while there's a little bit more open room around him right now. Trying to conserve the left front that's got quite a bit of damage on it from this run. Better safe than sorry, so Labonte will enter onto pit road.
Number 12 is outside.
Might as well throw 4 fresh tires on it as well. We'll have 25 laps to go when he comes off of pit road, but it is the smart thing to do while he's got a couple lap lead. We have another blown engine on the inside of the track down the front stretch. Not sure who that is. Been seeing a lot of engine failures in the second half of the race after virtually none in the first half.
And the car comes to a stop here on pit road. Service begins from this pit routine. They're going around to the right side and change right side with your tire. This will be a 4-tire stop, so 4 fresh tires, and this team is back in the race. And again,
So 25 to go. Back on the racetrack goes Terry Labonte. Now he's got the freshest tires in the field. Damage is repaired on the left front. And that was a smart thing to do there. He probably lost another 2 to 3 laps. Still tough to tell who that driver was that blew an engine. Jeff Gordon's into the top 5 now. I haven't really seen him much up there, so he's rallied. Been outside the top 10 most of the day, so a good run for him late. Now the car's only in the yellow. Not all the way around the car, but most of the way around it. No big issue there. 7-lap lead, I believe, for Labonte over Ryan Newman and Ricky Rudd. Bonnie gets around his teammate off the floor, Joe Nemechek once again. 20 laps to go now at Richmond. We got more drivers hitting pit road. I was surprised not everybody's pit yet, especially after that last caution. But I guess we still have a couple more drivers coming into pit road, or at least one more. Taking their third and final stop of the race still. Yeah, I always check the results after victory lane. At least the top 10, and then usually try to figure out who all DNF'd. $18 laps to go. Stewart again checks up right in front of Labonte. He is almost a rival just after this race alone. Bonnie then pushed up the track into junior on corner exit. Stewart not mad enough to take a swing, luckily, at Labonte, and Labonte gets right around him. Might be the last time he sees him today, too. Labonte's on his way to making 0 rivals for the 3rd straight race, or exiting the 3rd straight race. Going into the Coke 600, that could be a good thing, knowing that it's a test of endurance there. NASCAR's version of an endurance race, the longest race of the season. 600 miles on the standard cookie cutter 1.5 mile racetrack. Oh! 3 wide. Craven couldn't quite hold it in the middle as well as Labonte was hoping he would, and they made contact. Heavy lap traffic now right in front of Terry Labonte. Off of turn 2. Ooh, boy. Michael Waltrip again. Bonnie almost nosed it into the inside wall again. That time in turns 1 and 2 instead of 3 and 4. Oh, contact further up ahead. McMurray, I believe, made slight contact with Kent Schrader. Stacked them up. Wow, Schrader got tight right in front of Johnson, and Labonte's like, all right, thanks, I'll get on by. Another pack of lap traffic here before Labonte gets to the conclusion of tonight's race. We'll have 10 laps to go this time by. Well, it'll be 1 for 1 on the mini wheats paint scheme. Too bad I don't have any mini wheats in the house. Maybe some other time. Not the final time we'll use this scheme, especially with winning.
Still there.
Heck, knowing we had this dominant of a race, we might end up using it again for the Coke 600. Who knows? Actually, I think we'll probably use Cheez-It for the Coke 600 again just to try to get that good luck. The longest race of the season, because we're going to need it just to get to the end. We almost made it to the end of it in Season 1. You guys remember we got in a crash with like 4 laps to go in the race, which was very upsetting. Went from likely going to finish in the top 5 to finishing like outside the top 30. Harvick tried to squeeze up the middle between Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte. He's got a little bit fresher tires. Wallace was holding him up. Labonte was coming in hot. So there's a little bit of contact there. Nothing major, though. We stay green.
Got one outside. The 29 car is looking right. You're clear. Got one high.
6 to go. Page holding up Kurt Busch.
Clear all around.
Most dominant race of the season by far for Terry Labonte here today at Richmond, and looking to make history. In just a couple of laps, he has led every single lap here today. Never have I personally done this on NASCAR Thunder 04 in a full race. But we're about to make history on the channel here today, and doing so, it'll be the second time we've ever done it on the channel in a Cup race. The only other time was Sonoma on NASCAR Heat 5, where we led every lap in a Cup race. And we also did it in an Xfinity race once on the channel as well at Watkins Glen. And only one caution here in tonight's race as well, and we probably would have went caution free, but Michael Waltrip trying to get off of pit road and trying to block Labonte into 3. Cut right up across his left front and turned himself head on into the outside wall, unfortunately. I believe he's still running, though. But he definitely lost a lot of spots coming out of the pits. Still not even in the top 5 right now. Two laps to go.
Number 10 is outside.
3 wide. Bonnie just going to let him go, not even going to risk it 3 wide. Now gasses it up to get by Schrader and Biffle off of turn 4. Final lap. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go for Terry Labonte. It'll be his 4th consecutive win. It'll be 5 of the last 6. And 1 for 1 with this Mini Wheats paint scheme on the car. He'll lap Johnny Benson another time in turns 3 and 4. Checkered flag waving. Labonte wins 4 in a row and his first of the season at Richmond. Big win for Terry Labonte. And a race that flew by with only 1 caution. Do a little Polish victory lap. Polish victory lap for Terry Labonte. He's got smoke rolling out of the back of the car now from the engine. Oh man, I'm having a hard time trying to keep it straight. Ugh. This analog stick again, it doesn't help. Going backwards either. Got a little better than 1 and 2. Polish victory lap here for Terry Labonte at the Richmond Raceway.
The yellow didn't wave as much.
Trying to get back in the championship hunt. This win with a max points there will go a long way. Bonnie went every lap, so nobody else is even going to get a single lap led, which means nobody will get 5 bonus points, but Labonte will get 10 on top of his win. As solid of a race as you can have, points-wise, especially compared to the rest of the field. We had a lot of drivers that did not even finish in the top 10 that were in the top 4 or 5 of the point standings as well. That's going to help Labonte too. So he wins the Pontiac Excitement 400 here tonight at Richmond. And no rivals for the 3rd straight race at the end of it as well. An 8-lap lead on the field for Terry Labonte. Complete domination there. You see it, 400 laps led of the 400-lap race here today. So nobody else even got a single lap led in there. Ryan Newman finishes 2nd. Ricky Rudd 3rd. Jeff Gordon 4th. Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 5, followed by Sterling Marlin 6th. Mark Martin 7th. Steve Park 8th. Good run for him. He wasn't looking that good at the beginning of the race, so that definitely panned out for him. Jamie McMurray 9th. Good run for the rookie. And Dale Jarrett rounds out the top 10. No Pontiacs in the top 10, I don't believe, for the Pontiac Excitement 400, unfortunately. Craven was close. He finished 11th. And we'll take a look at who all DNF'd in today's race. We had a lot of engine failures in the second half of the race, but we had 0 in the first half. Jeff Green was the first engine failure at lap 258. Bobby Labonte soon followed, as we saw. David Green also blew an engine. Brett Bodine blew an engine. We saw that. Jeremy Mayfield blew an engine when we were on pit road that last time. I was wondering who it was, so Mayfield was the driver. So 5 DNFs here tonight at Richmond. And only 1 caution for 3 caution laps. That was for Michael Waltrip, just turning himself off the front bumper of Biffle. Off of race leader Labonte at the time. Again, he was coming off of pit road, going into turn 3, and I was on his outside, and he just tried to block going up the racetrack. He just turned himself right off of us. But luckily, there wasn't too much damage on our car from that. We did hit pit road, and we never had to worry about losing the lead because we had a multiple lap lead even at that time. 2 hours, 29 minutes total time of the race. That is flying. Less than 2.5 hours to get through a full Richmond race. And a lot of it was we only had 1 caution, so the race pace was definitely very, very fast. We'll take a quick little glance at the point standings before we get on out of here, as well as the upcoming races on the schedule here for NASCAR Thunder 04. All-Star race is going to be tomorrow night. That will be the next full race live stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, okay, it does have the All-Star race on the exhibition mode. That's cool. So I guess we won't have to, without having to race the race now or the exhibition race mode. So it wasn't like that on the custom schedule, but it is like that with the normal schedule. So that's pretty cool. Yep, 5th win of the season for Terry Labonte. Still 7 different winners on the year. Dale Jr. with the points lead narrowly over Matt Kenseth, followed by Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, the top 5. Terry Labonte moves from 12th in points to 6th in points with this win here tonight. And the max points day is only 2 behind Jarrett. So now all of a sudden, and actually tied with Mark, the tiebreaker there. Nice. So 6 spots gained in the points. But that goes to show we're early in the season still. 11 races complete. We'll be a third of the way through after the Coke 600 in a couple nights. Angel Hollaback, James Knight, welcome to the stream right at the end. Unfortunately, you guys missed it. But Terry Labonte was able to get the victory here tonight, leading all 400 laps of the race. First time I've ever led every single lap of a full race on NASCAR Thunder 04. So that was pretty impressive, to say the least. So the new controller, we're 1 for 1 with that, too. I was not expecting that with how out of control the car was in practice, with me trying to get used to the new analog stick. But thanks for everybody tuning in here tonight. And again, a quick look at the upcoming schedule. All-Star race will be tomorrow night. The Coke 600 will be on Sunday. And then we'll pick things back up after Sunday's race for the Coke 600. Next week on Thursday, we'll go to Dover. And then Pocono on Friday, Michigan Saturday. Those will be the next 4 races on the channel for NASCAR Thunder 2004. NASCAR Heat 5 is going to wrap up next week as far as the full race live streams are concerned. So we'll be seeing a lot of NASCAR Thunder 04 pretty consistently and pretty frequently starting later into next week. And then we honestly, if we'd run 1 race every day like we have so far in 2021, we haven't missed a day yet. I haven't missed a day on the channel, I think, since Talladega. I think was the last time I missed a stream was those 4 days I was gone Talladega. We actually streamed the first night I was gone, and then I think the next 3 nights I was out of town we didn't stream. So I think that was the last time we missed a night of streaming. So been on a pretty good streak, keeping it rolling here. Start my new job next week, so we won't have me being tired anymore. So great. Thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We do these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast every day. And join us for the All-Star race tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you guys then. Have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you tomorrow.